This year marks the 70th anniversary of the Korean War. Although sometimes called the Forgotten War, the Korean War played a major role not only in U.S. history, but in the history and legacy of North and South Korea, and really the entire world. The Korean War Legacy Foundation has built immense resources to support the teaching of the Korean War and its legacy. I would now like to turn it over to a representative of the Korean War Legacy Foundation to share a few words.
Hello, social studies teachers. My name is Jong-woo Han. I am the president of the Korean War Legacy Foundation, and it is my great honor and pleasure to host the commemoration event for the 70th anniversary of the Korean War, as well as the 100th anniversary of the National Council for Social Studies. What makes this event even more special is that representatives of the Korean War Veterans Memorial Foundation are with us. In addition to overseeing Washington, D.C.'s Korean War Veterans Memorial Park, they are now working to add Wall of Remembrance. This wall will have 36,574 names of U.S. soldiers who were killed in action and 8,400 KATUSA members. I want to ask you all to applaud the Honorable Chairman John Tillelly and Executive Director Jim Fisher for their dedication to the cause. Finally, I want to thank NCSS President Stephanie Wazer and Executive Director Larry Pasca and their team for honoring the Korean War veterans in the NCSS 100th Anniversary Conference. I want to express my deepest appreciation to NCSS for their long-time partnership with us. Our foundation has completed world's most extensive digital archive of Korean War veterans interviews from 21 countries, thanks to the consistent support of South Korea's Ministry of Patriots and Veterans Affairs. With this digital archive, the first of its kind, we have published the first curriculum book in 2019 with the NCSS, completely based on teachers' analysis of 1,500 interviews and written by our best teachers with the C3 inquiry. Continuing to expand this effort is the best way to honor the sacrifice of our heroes. And I believe that this is the most enduring way to put the Korean War and its legacy into the place it deserves in our history education. That's why we emphasize most the contributions and leadership brought forth by our social studies teachers. And that's why our foundation's motto is of the teachers, for the teachers, and by the teachers. While the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted the original plan for this conference, our spirit to honor and educate about the legacy of the Korean War will not be defeated by this virus. The Korean War Legacy Foundation, with our excellent team of educators, will continue to work on this unreplaceable legacy of the Korean War, which has led to South Korea's remarkable economic prosperity and vibrant democracy. I know for sure that this goal can only be achieved when all of you are with us. So I want to say this loud and clear. Let's go together. 같이 갑시다. Thank you.
Dr. Han, educators, thank you for allowing me to be here on behalf of the Korean War Veterans Memorial Foundation. It's an honor for me to join you for this special event, which commemorates the 70th anniversary of the start of the Korean War. Educators in America play a significant role in the development of our children and the shaping of America. During this time of COVID, it's been extremely difficult for educators, parents, students, and all. Hopefully, beyond COVID, we will take a more traditional face-to-face approach to educating America's youth. Factually, you spend more waking time with America's children than do most parents in two-job households. History and social studies are so important. George Santana said it correctly. Those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it. The United States and South Korea have a long and shared history of friendship, cooperation based on shared values and interests. The alliance was set in motion by the invasion of South Korea on June 25, 1950. For 3 years, a war and fighting raged on the peninsula until the armistice 3 years later on July 27, 1953. As a result of the war, 36,574 Americans and over 8,000 Korea augmentation of the United States Army gave their lives defending the people of the Republic of Korea from aggression and ensuring their freedom. Resulting from the war, South Korea has emerged as a vibrant democracy, an envious economy, and free people, while North Korea still suffers under a dictatorship where the population is less important than the leadership. The Republic of Korea is one of America's strongest, closest, and trusted allies. We must not allow the Korean War that generated all of these benefits to be forgotten any longer. Since the war, it has developed from a military relationship formed to counter the invasion by the DPRK to a global partnership geared towards peace and stability, and also addressing a range of regional and international issues. Despite the passage of time, changing regional dynamics, and emergence of new security threats, the alliance has proven that it can withstand all of the turmoil of a changing world, and remarkably capable of looking at the new challenges in an evolving world. Again, I thank you all for what you do for our children, for America's children. Do not forget the Korean War, its outcome, those who gave their ultimate sacrifice, their lives to defend the free people of the Republic of Korea. And thank you for all you do. Kachikapchida, we go together.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be here with you today. I hope you're enjoying the conference. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about who I am. I'm Larry Kynett, a Korean War veteran and past president of the KWVA. My thanks to Dr. Hahn and his staff for inviting me. It's certainly a great honor and privilege to address the teachers who are attending this conference. Just a brief background, I graduated from Texas A&M in 1949 with a BS degree and commissioned in the U.S. Army. Our reserve unit was activated shortly after the beginning of the war. I went to Korea in early 1952 and spent time as an artillery fort observer in the mountains along the Imjin River with both the South Korean Army and the U.S. 3rd Infantry Division. After 2 years of service, I was discharged in and came back to a country that mostly thought fighting in Korea was a big waste of lives and money. Most of us just went back to school or the jobs we had and tried to forget about the war. It was not until 40 years later, after I retired from my job, that I began to hear from other veterans about the KWVA. Bottom line is, I joined the organization and in 1997 went on a revisit trip to Korea and saw for myself all the wonderful things the Koreans had done in resurrecting their country from the ashes of war that I had remembered from the days when I was there. This made a deep impression on me and left me with the feeling that maybe we had done something good after all due to the intellect, ambition, and energy of the Korean people. They took advantage of the freedom we fought for and the opportunity we were able to give them. While we were there, they did everything they could in expressing their appreciation for what we had done for them. Today, 70 years later, they're still the most grateful of all the nations the U.S. ever fought for. During my time as president and Tell America chairman, I worked very closely with Dr. Hahn. especially when I saw he could accomplish much more than we could ever do to perpetuate our legacy, which is still one of my lifetime goals. What you're doing today is helping to further that effort in passing along the story of what we did in saving a nation and the lives of thousands of people. I think we're making progress with that, but unfortunately many Americans still don't know what we did in Korea, and I'm very thankful that NSCC is working with Dr. Hahn to help tell our story. Thank you for what you're doing. It is a good story, and I continue to pray for a resolution of the differences between North and South Korea and believe someday it will happen. It's my wish that instead of thinking of Korea as the forgotten war, we need to remember it as the forgotten victory. I enjoyed being with you today. Thank you very much.